Guys, we have UFC Boston ESPN 6 kicking off this weekend with Dominick Reyes versus Chris Weidman for the main event, and for the co-main event we have the UFC Mexico City rematch between Yair Rodriguez and Jeremy Stephens. Bound to be a hell of a fight. I'm looking more forward to that fight than I am any other fight in the card. I personally believe that Dominick Reyes is gonna spank the shit out of Chris Weidman, but hey, it's the fight game and anything can happen. So definitely, manage your money wisely when it comes to that fight, but I definitely see Dominick Reyes absolutely piecing this dude up, and we're going to cover that later on. But that being said, this isn't going to be like your typical predictions podcast where everyone covers every single fight and they tell you who they believe is going to win. I won't be covering all the fights, but I will be covering the fights I believe have the best value and who I believe has the best chance of winning. It's not necessarily going to be who I'm putting my money on, but it is who I like on this card in terms of, the safe bet. Nothing's really a safe bet because it is the MMA game. It is the fight game, so shit happens. But hey, I love my picks this weekend. For my boys that are in premium who've paid for the subscription, it's only $20 a month. You know who I'm going with on this card already. I already sent out those picks. As of right now, I just have one parlay and a couple straight picks. I even have an underdog play. I really, really love this underdog. I feel really high about him. Almost guaranteed he's going to win, to be honest, given the mismatch and it's just his last fight was incredible. I know he's going to win, but that being said, I'm going to go ahead and share where I believe the best value is on this card and where you guys should put your money. So let's get right into it. So starting off, we got Manny Bermudez versus Charles Rosa, Maycee Barber versus Gilian Robertson, Greg Hardy versus Ben Sosoli. Then we're going to break it into the co-main event with Jeremy Stephens versus Yair Rodriguez, Mr. Temper Tantrum. If you guys watched that UFC Mexico City card, you know that was a shit show. If you've been on my Instagram and you've been following me since then, you know what I thought of that whole card. It was an absolute bust, but hey, it is what it is. And then the main event, we got Dominick Reyes versus Chris Weidman. So let's get right into the picks, boys. So for those of you who've been following me on Instagram, you know how highly I think of Manny Bermudez. I love Manny Bermudez in this fight, and if you're looking for some plus odds on this one, don't be afraid to even throw some money on Bermudez finishing this fight inside the distance. We've seen how quickly he's been able to finish this fight or finish his last fights, finishing 3 out of his 4 UFC fights via submission in the first round via choke. I know 2 of them were by guillotine choke. Another one was by maybe I think it was a triangle choke or even a rear naked. I'm almost positive it was a triangle choke. And yeah, man, I love Manny Bermudez in this fight. He just got his first loss. He was 15-0 leading up into his last fight against Casey Kenney or Casey Keeney, whatever you say it is. But that's just a little hiccup in his fight career, man. He's coming off that recent loss. However, I really believe Bermudez has this fight. I think he lost his last fight due to home advantage. I hate to throw that card out, but hey, dude, we've seen it happen week in and week out. Some of these elite fighters getting screwed by absolute screw jobs. You saw the Luis Pena fight last weekend. That was crazy to me, but I really feel like home advantage is starting to become a thing in the UFC, and it's absolutely ridiculous to me. This isn't football. But it is what it is. Shit happens, and we just gotta move on from there. Bermudez's last fight, it looked super sloppy. He wasn't able to get to the ground the fight to the ground effectively at all. And when he did, Casey had a really good job, did a great job of scrambling, and just wasn't able to Bermudez wasn't able to keep the fight on the ground for very long. In fact, he kept pulling guard a couple times, and as we've seen, Bermudez is even better when it comes to his submission game, when he's the one implementing the takedowns and stuff like that. He's not really that skilled off his back, but hey, the dude is a very experienced submission artist, and I feel like he can get the submission from anywhere, and I feel like he'll be able to show that off this weekend. That being said, Bermudez is going up in weight class. His last outing was a little controversial. I definitely feel like it should have been a win, as I just said, but however, we saw glimpses of his true stardom in the last round. In the third round, he really started to show us who he really is. And I just think that's a situation where we see a UFC fighter coming off his first loss, and we see him coming back to show the fans just how good he is. And I feel like Charles Rosa, he's only 2-3 in the UFC. I don't see him being able to upset Manny Bermudez here, especially because Manny Bermudez is also from the New England area. I think he's from Boston actually. I too am from Boston, so I really like Manny Bermudez in this pick, and definitely some great value at -150. His last fight, it was relatively the same odds, didn't go his way, but hey, UFC Boston, that's a Bermudez triangle, baby. Bermudez triangle. I feel like he's gonna get this sub. Definitely don't. If you're a true gambler, you can take a stab at Bermudez finishing the fight inside the distance, or even Bermudez pulling off the submission. You want some plus odds, do that. But my confidence is super high in this fight. I love Manny Bermudez, and I definitely think he has some super, super dope value in his pick. So definitely look out for that one, and maybe take a stab at him to finish the fight inside the distance. So for the next fight, Maycee Barber versus Gilian Robertson. I really like Maycee Barber in this fight. She's coming in a -135 favorite. Everyone thinks Maycee Barber isn't as good as people like to think she is because of that one-dimensional grappling game plan. But hey, man, we've seen her last fight against J.J. Aldrich, that if she's not able to take the fight to the ground, that girl was really able to overcome some adversity. And she's able to finish the fight on the feet, man. She was able to spark this girl standing up, and if that happens in this fight, I definitely see the same thing happening. The fact that she didn't even gas out trying to take down J.J. Aldrich really shows a lot, and how this girl prepares for the fights. So I don't think it's gonna be one of those situations where Gilian Robertson defends, gasses her out and pieces her up. I just don't see it happening. Even since her last fight against J.J. Aldrich, Maycee Barber made she made a very significant leap in her striking and grappling game. So I love her chances in this fight. Although Robertson's a jiu-jitsu practitioner, I just don't see her being able to submit Barber from the ground. Most of her submissions have come from her standing up when she's able to implement her grappling. And it may not be as successful when she's the one being taken down. Usually she's the one taking down people, and I just don't see it happen in this fight. So definitely look for Maycee Barber to go and smother Robertson in this fight. In the matchup with Greg Hardy versus Ben Sosoli, man, if you guys been following Greg Hardy, there's not much to say about this fight. Greg Hardy is just an absolute beast, an absolute freak of nature coming out of America's top team. This guy is just an athletic freak, man. I just definitely don't see him fighting. Yeah, we can hate on him all we want, but hey, it's the fight game, and man, you definitely can't hate on this dude's skills. This guy is an absolute beast in there. He's going up against Ben Sosoli, whatever his name is. He has the classic Samoa's chance, man. He has that chin, and he has that power, but that's about it. I actually just finished watching the weigh-ins. Super duper mismatch. Greg Hardy has about at least maybe 4, maybe even 3 inches on this dude. I just don't see, and this is the heavyweights, I don't see Sosoli being able to connect with Greg Hardy and knock him out, especially a man that big. Dude's literally a fucking polar bear, NFL player. Yeah, he's here for a reason. You guys can call this him fighting another trash can. But hey, Sosoli has some power in his hand, so definitely don't look over Sosoli. This is, he can definitely win this fight. Definitely he can pull it off, but Greg Hardy coming in at a -300, which I definitely think is a little bit too high for him. I cap him personally. I cap him at a -250, maybe even -225. But, based on hype, based on people trying to make that coin off him, I can see why. You remember him versus Alan Crowder? This man was upwards of -1200. His first fight in the UFC. You're -1200. Man, it's all hype. It has to be all hype because you've never seen this man compete other than on the Contender Series. Granted, he did spark all his opponents in like 3 seconds combined or whatever it was. Hey, this guy is nothing to be fucked with. But we saw him lose that fight based off just being stupid. He didn't know the rules yet. So anything can happen in the fight game. But for this one, shit, man, I look at it. I think it's gonna be another situation where Greg Hardy literally just walks forward, just simple, no real game plan involved. I just see Greg Hardy walking forward and just beating this dude like a redheaded stepchild, man. I just see him just punching this man in the forehead, punch him in the ribs. Maybe the guy falls. The guy maybe throws a couple stomps in the back of his forehead, makes him bite the curb. whatever you want to do for this fight. I see Greg Hardy literally, maybe even possibly committing murder on live TV. I don't see Ben Sosoli winning this fight at all. Man, just give him a nice little clap, just for making it to UFC. But hey, you were just here to get beat up by Greg Hardy, and that's about it. So Greg Hardy being a minus 300, definitely wouldn't put my money on him on a straight pick. But I wouldn't be afraid to throw him in a parlay or two. Get some good odds from maybe someone else. Maybe put him in with another minus 100, minus 200 fighter, and definitely cash out with that. But for this fight, going with Greg Hardy. I will tell you guys one thing. He is in a couple of my parlays. I'll give you that information myself. He's in a couple of my parlays, so definitely go ahead and pick Greg Hardy to win this fight via whatever the fuck he wants. Next, we have Jeremy Stephens versus Yair Rodriguez. Man, I definitely love Jeremy Stephens in this fight. The last fight they had scheduled, I also like Jeremy Stephens in that fight, and that was a 5-round fight. Now it's a 3-round fight. I'm definitely a little more inclined to go ahead and go with Yair Rodriguez, just simply to outscore him with kicks and stuff like that. But given the background between these two, definitely weigh-ins. I just watch weigh-ins. Man, Yair Rodriguez looks like a little child in there, man. He looks scared. This dude definitely barked up the wrong tree. Jeremy Stephens is certainly about that life. The guy's a beast, man. Don't let the fact that Conor McGregor punking this dude in the conference, who the fuck is that guy? Don't let that get to your head, man. This guy is literally the hardest hitting 145er in the division. So I think we're gonna see that there. To be honest, man, come on, let's be honest with each other. The last fight, Yair Rodriguez versus Korean Zombie, come on. Do you think he actually meant to throw that elbow? Go watch the fight, man. The guy, pretty much, that was the most, I don't even know what to say about that fight, but Yair Rodriguez definitely lost that fight to Korean Zombie. And with all the playing they were doing and sitting there and dapping each other up, high-fiving each other for putting on such a performance, we're not going to see that here. We're going to see sort of the same game plan put on by Jeremy Stephens, smother Yair Rodriguez, not let him be able to throw those kicks. And I feel like, Jeremy Stephens is going to go out there and blast this dude. We won't see it. Obviously, we're not going to see him run out there and go ahead and freaking go full blow with him. But I'm going to give it about maybe 2 minutes into the first round before Jeremy Stephens bites down his his mouth guard, and beast this dude up, man. Throw him up against the cage and just fuck him up. Because Yair Rodriguez, man, that's just a kickboxer in the ring, dude. I don't really think he got it like that. You guys kind of blow smoke up his butt, but other than some flashy kicks and some punches, man, this guy is not as good as people like to think he is. Definitely not as good as people like to think he is. So for this one, I'm going to go with the hardest hitting 145er in the division. I'm going to go ahead and let Jeremy Stephens do his thing out there. I'm not saying I'm throwing money on it, but I see Jeremy Stephens leaving this dude in a coma. He did say that if he doesn't kill this man, it's not a win to him. That in itself made me be like, you know what, this guy is a fucking savage, and I'm gonna go ahead and pick him to win this fight. His final pick of this card, I'm gonna go with Dominick Reyes for this fight. He's coming in about, I think, a 170 favorite. And I think it's rightfully so. And I definitely don't think his odds are inflated. We have Chris Weidman coming up in a weight, trying to make his debut against Dominick Reyes. And hey, Chris Weidman, he's had some glimpses in his career, but I just don't see him winning this fight, man. I really, really don't. Coming from a guy who literally almost got knocked out by Yair Souza, who was literally gassed when he clipped this dude. Couple more seconds in that fight, and Yair had that shit in the bag. But this is gonna be a whole different monster in Dominick Reyes, man. Dominick Reyes is a beast. People like to think he lost to Volkan, man. I would probably say the same thing as well. But this is a different fight. Volkan is also a kind of a beast in his own right. But Chris Weidman, other than that victory over Anderson Silva, they keep playing that shit over and over and over and over again, man. Okay, we get it. We get it. Chris Weidman pulled off an upset. Everyone does it. I mean, that was a crazy upset, actually. Actually, that was the most ridiculous upset. But listen, it's an upset. It's an upset that happens. But this ain't the one, man. This is not the one. Dominick Reyes is a beast, man. I cannot emphasize this enough. This guy's a black belt in Taekwondo. This guy's whipping no kicks left and right. I see him piecing up Chris Weidman on the feet, man, via whatever he wants, like kick, friggin' knocking him out with a toe, maybe gouge him in the eye real quick, John Jones style. But Dominick Reyes should win this fight, and in fact, he will win this fight. I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there right now. I mean, if he loses, fucking whatever. But Dominick Reyes will win this fight. I don't. And if he loses this fight, it's gonna be one of those situations where the whole community wins, because it's gonna be like, holy shit. It's gonna be a holy shit moment if Chris Weidman goes out there and fucks Dominick Reyes up. But to be honest, I would definitely go ahead and pick Dominick Reyes to win this fight. If you're looking for even closer odds, I will look for Dominick Reyes to finish this fight. I think right now it's at like plus 100, plus 110. It's gonna be a 5-round fight, and we saw in Chris Weidman's open workout, Chris Weidman was simply he was showing off his ground game like a little cornball, dude. Who does that? Like who wants to go to an open workout and see you roll around with another dude, man? That's not what we're trying to see. We're trying to see some flashy shit, but instead Chris Weidman was showing his guillotines and like his takedowns and stuff like that. Now, of course, he could have been doing that just to kind of throw off Dominick Reyes and be like, yo, look I'm going to go ahead and implement grappling against you. And I don't think that's throwing off anybody, yo. Chris Weidman, we know what Chris Weidman is going to do this fight. This guy's not going to go toe-to-toe with Dominick Reyes. He's just not. It's not going to happen. Dominick Reyes is a no-back-down fighter, man. He'll just keep pushing forward, and he's going for that finish. And, definitely pick Dominick Reyes to win this fight. I mean, if you want to go and throw him in a parlay, go ahead and do it. But hey, a straight pick on Dominick Reyes, I wouldn't frown at that. But hey, Dominick Reyes via KO. I want to say KO. You know what? Let's make a bold prediction. Dominick Reyes KO first 2 minutes. All right, go ahead and throw that to the bank right there. Dominick Reyes KO first 2 minutes. You heard that here. So when this man finishes, make sure you come back to this video and be like, hey, you got it. I don't see Dominick Reyes being able to win this fight. So that's gonna be it for these breakdowns. And if you enjoyed them, go ahead and drop a subscription. Go ahead and leave a comment. Whatever supports the channel for your boy, because we're just getting into this. Definitely something that's fun to do. I love betting MMA. If you follow my Instagram, at least, I bet MMA, football, and basketball now. But the page solely started on MMA, so we're going to keep that going. That's going to be our main front, because that's something I'm passionate about. I mean, that's something that's way more enjoyable to bet on, because it's, one guy versus another guy, not one good guy on the team versus 6 good guys on the team, So, hey man, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave a comment, like the video, maybe even share with a friend or two. But hey, I got one question for you guys. Who you got, bro? So yeah, guys, that's gonna wrap up my predictions for this card. If you're a premium bettor, you already know who I'm picking for this fight. For those who follow me on Instagram for all my free picks, you already know who I'm picking for this fight as well. But yeah, if you're interested in the premium, just go ahead and shoot me a DM. It's only $20 a month. Of course, at the end of the month, you'll resubscribe. But hey, thanks for everyone that came out to look at the video. I appreciate any likes, comments, subscribe, maybe even share this video with a friend. And hey, man, thanks for all the continued support, boys.